In this video, we're going to preserve some ginger for planting in the spring while we talk about some of the health benefits of eating ginger in your diet.
Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave.
Good morning and welcome to the Bowtie Florida room. Yes, we are in Destin, Florida. We grew a whole bunch of ginger. If you didn't see the harvest, go back and look a couple of videos back and you can see we got 8 pounds of ginger. It was nothing short of awesome. Most ginger I had ever grown, and I'm going for more next year. We've also got some turmeric here that we're going to be taking care of in a similar way in the next video. But right now we're talking about this right here, ginger, and the health benefits of ginger and how easy it is to grow in the garden, folks. It is a set it and forget it kind of crop. It is very, very easy to grow. It just needs a few things. And we'll talk about that in the planting video that we're going to do here in probably 2.5 months. One of the big things about ginger that I'll mention first is that it has gingerol in it, which has a lot of medicinal properties. And we know that it has a lot to do with some of these other things we're going to talk about here. It helps with the bodily function. It's really a beneficial thing. Now, before I go any further, okay, folks, there are some dangers with ginger. Not big ones. They're little itty bitty dangers that you need to be aware of. Really, it's just an awareness thing that we're going to talk about as we go through here. So any of this, do your research. You really need to do your research and find out what you're doing. Know what can happen. What are some of the effects that might be negative for ginger. There's one in the list here that I'm definitely going to share with you. Let's go on with what we're going to do here to preserve this ginger. Now, I have here a bucket half full of soil that I just pulled out of the garden. Now, folks, this soil has been out there a long time. It's what the ginger grew in, so I know it does pretty good. It has nutrients in it, probably not as many as it's going to have when I plant these because we'll be amending those beds with more compost, but it has good nutrients. It even has some weed stuff in it. There's a part of a runner for the air potato, the bad air potato, not the good stuff that David the Good talks about. There's old roots in here. There's even insects in here. But you know what? This stuff is going here in the Florida room. You saw the last video where we preserved all of the pepper plants, 23 pepper plants for next year. We put that in the same exact stuff they were growing in. This room stays kind of cool. They do get a little sun. For this here, the sun doesn't matter. You can put it on a shelf in a dark closet for all that matters. I recommend keeping it cool. A garage would be great. Just some place where you can store it out of the way where you're not going to mess with it. Now, I did a video, I did a video of planting out some ginger in April of 2023. So a year and a half ago. And then at the end of 2023, I preserved that ginger just like I did here. I don't think I made a video. I couldn't find a video on it, but I forgot about it until like April. And it sat in the other end of this room till April. And it just sat there. Didn't bother with it. In fact, it didn't get water for the last month. That's going to be another thing we're going to talk about here in just a moment. Didn't get water for the last month it was in here. So these things, what we're about to do is just shove it away somewhere, store it, and find a place you can get it out of the way that's not going to be messed with. And problem with my ADHD brain, don't forget it, okay? So anyway, ginger, you come up with these pieces of ginger root like this. And like I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, so I want pieces big enough to support plant life, a new plant. And what we're going to be doing is like, I actually see 2 potential pieces right here. I see one on this half, one on this half. They're actually connecting right here in the middle. But if I just break that in half, we have 2 phenomenal pieces ready to grow ginger. I could go small. Actually, I could break off one. In fact, I could break off this and have this do its own plant. I'm almost tempted to do that. I do want more ginger this year. I'm going to set that one aside because I might do that. Now, this one looks a little more rugged. I'm wondering if this may have been the original mother root for this particular plant. The mother root, well, you can see how fresh this piece looks. It's a very fresh looking piece of ginger. This one here don't look so fresh. It even has a big old healed wound on the backside. I'm pretty sure that this was a mother root that I planted back in April or maybe it was the end of March, somewhere in there, that I planted in spring of this year and grew a root tuber from. And so I'm actually going to use these a second year in a row. Yeah, I'm going to try those. In fact, I'm going to put these older ones over here to the other side. And yeah, folks, if we keep this a little cool, things aren't going to be active in here. But you know what? This has been sitting out there in the sun for a while now, a couple weeks since we pulled this up. It's been sitting out there all summer. The sun actually has a lot of curative properties for the soil. It balances things, it stabilizes things, and makes things better. So this soil is okay for what our purpose is. I'm going to be putting this back out in this soil, the same stuff out here in a few months. So it makes sense to me that it's going to be okay. Now I'm going to take that whole piece, and what I'm doing is I'm just kind of nestling them down into this soil. And I'm going through here and see now this could actually be two pieces as well. Those are two not as pretty a pieces. They're kind of older. I don't know. They're firm. That's one thing you want to look at. But I do notice, right here, there is a little green nub coming out right there. It is just begging to grow. It really is. And I'm just nestling these in the dirt. I thought I saw, oh yeah, right here. There's another little green nub right there that might shoot out. So these things are kind of dry. They've been sitting there for, has it been a full 2 weeks? No, it's been a week and a half. In fact, it's been a week and a half. I just remembered. It's been exactly a week and a half today. So I don't want to do all of this, but I'm going to do a lot of this. And these are kind of dry. That's a beautiful little piece right there. Not very big. But I'm looking for a dozen pieces. A whole dozen. Now, the way these work, actually, let's talk about another health benefit. And what this is a big thing, is that it helps with nausea. Now, there's all kinds of nausea that we can be aware of that this can help with. Maybe a road trip, maybe. Okay, I don't know a lot about female problems, but I know we have female problems, and this stuff has been studied for solving various types of problems with reproductive system, with pregnancy, with the cycle, and just general nausea. I heard someone say, if you're going on a road trip and you tend to get road sick, car sick, take some ginger with you. It doesn't take much. And you can see in one of the previous videos I did pickled ginger. I love the pickled ginger. And let me tell you something. That stuff is mellowing, and I love those nice thick slices that we did. I may be doing it that way forevermore. So another thing that ginger can help with is weight loss. That's kind of exciting. I know I went through a journey myself and lost the weight that I've been trying to get rid of for 35 years. Almost 40 years. It was part of that journey that I took, not the final part. And some of you might, in fact, put in the comments if you know what the final part was for me personally that got rid of those last 28 pounds that I've been trying to get rid of for decades. Anyway, put it in the comments if you know what that is. Some of you OG viewers will remember that. Weight loss, it actually helps with that. Osteoarthritis, it helps with the pain. So osteoarthritis, there are some negative factors, and we'll talk about that on this next point that I'm going to cover. I'm going to break that. That's a nice piece right there. That's a really nice piece. Once it sprouts and starts developing, it's going to look good. I'm going to break that one. And folks, I'm just breaking these off. I have clippers somewhere around here. I was just using them. I don't know where they went. Anyway, where did they go? Did I leave them out? I did. I left them out on the garden bed. But I'm just breaking these off. These edges will heal. They'll cauterize themselves as it dries a little bit more. But we're putting it in this soil, and we're going to try to keep it ever so slightly moist. This is an exciting thing, the next health benefit. is an exciting thing for me. I'm a diabetic. If you watch any of my videos, you know that I'm diabetic, and I have had some bad struggles with it, with type 2 diabetes. But one of the things that ginger can help with high blood sugar. Now, on the other side of that, now folks, I'm not a doctor, okay? I actually got all this information online from reputable resources. This came from healthline.com, and I will actually put a link in the index at this point so that you can see exactly where I got this from. Do your own research, folks. Do your own research. And there's a lot of good information out there. I looked at articles on Johns Hopkins website and various other places that I have some respect for. You got to be careful because ginger drives down glucose levels, but if you already have low glucose problems, hypoglycemia, this may put you in a danger zone. So that's something to be aware of and a danger. So yeah, I'm going to break these up like that and just kind of give them a chance to grow. This thing, yeah, I've got some old dried roots on here. I can pull those off and give it a chance to develop more roots. Do a little root pruning. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm not stopping there, am I? You know me and ginger. Big Will Dog on on our last video where we did the pickled ginger, he was talking about doing ginger ale or ginger beer, and Will, you got to message me and let me know where some good information is on that, because I am way interested in that. Nestling these down. Now this is an interesting piece. There's actually they're actually connected right here, and I can break this like that and like that. Look at there. There's some good pieces. In fact, that one's got a little green right there. This bulbous thing here, the root, is actually going to provide food to start that new plant when the time comes. When the time comes, folks. That's very important. When the time comes, these things will start shooting out little plants. Now, they might start shooting out little greens before we even plant it out. You know what? That's great. Let the stuff do what it will. Let the stuff do what it will. Have you ever grown ginger? I know some of you have, and I'm really impressed with some of your harvests. If you think of something else that it's important that I completely miss here, whether it's the health benefits or the process here, put it in the comments below, because I'm always learning, folks. I am not a master gardener. I've been doing this a number of years. I've grown a lot of ginger. Obviously, I've grown a lot of turmeric, and I really enjoy ginger. I've learned to love it in recent years. But yeah, if you have any other tips, I love hearing those tips from y'all. I have learned so much from the comments on my own videos. You would not believe. You would not believe. So I'm actually just barely covering these ginger root and kind of patting it in, make sure it's in good contact. I don't want to use all this. I want to do something else with this on a personal project. I'm going to save that one, that one, that one. Let's plant the rest of these. Let's see, this is a little piece. Look how little that is. Now this is juicy inside still. Look at that video I did on pickled ginger. You can see where I cleaned it. It's squirting everywhere as I was cleaning it. I can get a few more plants out of this. And I'm kind of nestling it in here. It will know. There is no top, well, I'm sure there's a top and bottom, but you know what? The ginger knows where up is. It can detect gravity, and it will actually send those shoots up. And we'll have maybe 1-inch little shoots in this tray when we're getting ready to plant out. Now that one is a little, oh, it's a big hole right there. It's a little soft. We'll have to, I wonder if that one's actually going to grow. I'm going to put that on the middle and the back here. Some of these might die. The patch I did in 2023 and planted again in last year in 2024, nothing died in that, even though I neglected it. Totally neglected it. It still grew. But it's pretty tough stuff. There's a bunch of little pieces here that we'll just stick around the edges. Look at that. That's not good for much of anything. I wonder if it'll actually grow a plant. That will be fun. So if you have any questions about this, please feel free to ask. I try to get to all the questions I can. Occasionally one goes unwatched. Give me a little patience, and sometimes it just takes me a little longer to get around to it and get those answers done. But we're getting more and more questions, and I'm loving it. Let me tell you something. I love hearing from y'all. So yeah, get those questions in there. And another one of the health benefits that ginger does for the body, and some of you will like this one, is it helps to lower bad cholesterol, and it can increase the good stuff, the good cholesterol. Yes, there's a bad and there's a good, LDL, HDL. I have had minor problems with cholesterol, nothing major, but it has benefits in that. Now, and you can see here, I'm just barely burying these, barely. The purpose of burying these like this is very simple. I just want to keep, at this point, the moisture, the access to moisture in this ginger at this point. I don't want it to completely dry out. I think if it completely dries out, it will end the life and not come back. But if we can just keep a little bit of moisture in here and keep it just happy, then we can keep this stuff going. Now, I'll tell you what, this is a curious piece of root, and I'm going to put this in here, and I'm putting it in the video because these videos are my own personal journal. I'm going to put this in here on the side and bury it, just like all the other stuff, to see if it will grow just like the ginger. I don't know that it will. I don't know that there's enough to it, but it's just it's just a long piece that we'll have to see if it actually develops. Maybe it explodes, maybe it shrivels up and dies. I don't know. But now this soil has a little bit of water. It got rain 2 days ago. Yesterday morning it was raining. Now it's cold out there. Not yesterday morning. Yeah, it was day before yesterday. So 2 days ago it did get rain. So this soil, you can see if I take a handful of it and push it, it's got a little bit of moisture in it, which is about what you want. However, watering this setup here, we are not going to water this very often. I actually talked about the pepper plants that we did in the last video, and I barely touched those. I have put about half a cup in every one of those plants twice just to get them watered in. It's just barely enough to really just soak it. Those plants are going into dormancy. These things are dormant, folks. And so I just realized I left these two aside because I wanted to break them up. But these things are dormant. They're sleeping. Think about the trees. Deciduous trees in cold climates, what do in the winter? They drop their leaves. They go dormant. Apple trees, for example. Apple trees, for them to produce, they have to go through that cold period. I don't know that ginger has to go. It's a subtropical plant. But it can survive through a bit of a dormancy period. It'll survive 2 to 4 months in the proper environment. And that's exactly what we're trying to do here, is to simulate that proper environment. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to water this very sparingly. I just want to have moisture in this soil. And the cool thing is, in this tray, now this tray, there's no drainage holes in this tray. It is a glass platter that I got at a thrift store a number of years ago. I bought several of these. If you see my video tours, you know I've got these laying all around as turtle baths. This one was a turtle bath. The one over there by the bee box in next to the comfrey plant that we look at sometimes. But anyway, I use them for all kinds of stuff, but no drainage holes. So we're not going to let this thing swim in water at all. In fact, I'll show you. I've got a little bit of water here. That's actually too much. Too much. I don't want to put very much in there. And if I just spread this around, the cool thing about this, soil has capillary action, which means it'll actually soak, it'll balance out the moisture throughout the soil. And I'll be able to lift this up and look at the bottom of this and not see, in fact, I can still see air pockets underneath there. Yeah, plenty of air pockets. So there's no water settled in this. But this right here, that's it, folks. This is good. This is ready. Stick it on a shelf. Forget it. Maybe in a few weeks, check to see if it's moist. Like right now, it's a little wet. If I go like that, yeah, it's a little bit moist. It's sitting out here right now. We've got a dry spell for the next week or two. We are predicted to have a few mornings around freezing, and we'll have to see how the weather goes after that. I don't think we're past the freezing temperatures for Northwest Florida. I think we're probably going to have normally the end of February we have another cold spell. That's very common here. Last 2 weeks of January, beginning of February, we get a little bit of a colder spell in there. Normally a little bit of freezing temperatures and frost on the windshields, that kind of thing. Only once in the 7 years we've been here, over 7 years now, but in the past 7 winters, only once have we seen a hard freeze that got us down to like 18 below. Sorry, not 18 below. 18 degrees, which is below freezing. I'll put on the screen here what that is in Celsius. But only one time in that many years, and that was the first time in decades. So it does not happen often here. I see one more little piece of ginger that I'm going to just put a tad bit more. And I'm pulling out roots. You know, like I said, this came from the garden, and I can see there are still roots inside here. I'm really not going to worry about it. You know what? If something grows in here, you just pull a little, you might pull a little weed here and there, but don't pull the ginger. You'll know it's the ginger because it's a much larger, it'll be the largest thing to bloom in here. There's probably seeds in here. So anyway, last thing as far as health-wise, our last few things, there are studies that suggest that it might be reduce the risks of cancers. I got to get my wording right. I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to say this wrong. Again, I'm not a doctor. Do your research. But yes, there are studies that indicate that it may reduce chances of cancer. It may improve brain function and protect against Alzheimer's disease, which I thought was very interesting. There's a number of studies that have researched the elements that are and compounds that are in ginger that may help with brain function, which with my ADD brain, I need as much help as I can get. Last thing I'm going to say here is it does help fight infections. There's streptococcus and other fungal infections that we get in the body. It has shown that it can reduce the amount of infection and improve the bodily function in that respect as well. So lots of good stuff with ginger. I love it. I'm shooting for next year to see if we can maybe get 16 pounds of ginger. I'm expanding the area where I'm growing, and we'll talk about that in another video on where I'm planting this ginger for maximum yield next year. So stay tuned, subscribe for the turmeric, because we're going to take care of turmeric and get it ready for overwinter so that it will be, we can have a harvest next year. Now, I'll tell you what, that turmeric is a beautiful plant. I am actually going to be, I have so much of it. We have 10 pounds of the turmeric. I have so much of it. Some of this is just going to go out there, and we're going to just have pretty plants all over the place. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, so far, as for now though, that is the ginger health benefits. I hope it encourages you to grow it. It truly, truly is a set it and forget it kind of crop. And we'll talk about in that video about planting it, where I plant it, why I plant it there, and what I do to get it to grow, which, spoiler alert, it's not a lot. Yeah, very much so. And the only thing on this table that's less difficult than ginger is that turmeric. Y'all have a blessed day.